Your brand new home is hiding something. Behind the fresh paint, behind the quartz countertop, behind the inspector who said it looked great. 86% of new homes contain a defect that the builder is required to fix. Most owners don't find them till the drywall is up and the warranty is gone. Today I'm going to show you the 5 most common, where they hide, and how to catch them before you sign closing papers. 5 defects: plumbing, framing, HVAC, water intrusion, and the one underneath everything. We're going worst to first, and I'll show you exactly what to look for on each one. Here's what changed. Builders are rushing more homes through the line than ever, and the skilled labor shortage costs the industry over $10 billion a year. The crews are smaller, less trained, and on the next job before yours is even closed up. Composite materials and rapid fastening systems that tolerate 0 mistakes are being installed by people who don't have time to read the spec sheet. Number 5, what's under the slab? Plumbing. Plumbing's the easiest thing to mess up because most of it gets buried under the slab, inside the walls. You literally cannot see it once the concrete cures, which means it's the easiest thing for a rush crew to skip on. Sewer pipes need a 1/4 inch of drop per foot. Less than that, the solids settle out and you get blockages. Looks flat to the eye, but the code wants exactly that pitch. When a crew runs a line flat, or worse, sloped backwards, your house ferments waste under the slab for years before anyone notices. Before the walls close up, the code says the plumbing has to hold pressure. 5 psi of air, or a 10-foot column of water, for at least 15 minutes. No leaks, no drops. On a rush job, this test gets logged as passed and never actually run. Catch a buried pipe defect after move-in, and the fix involves your brand new floor. They jackhammer through the slab, pull out the drywall, reframe the rotted joists, all to fix something a 15-minute test would have caught. Number 4, the skeleton. Framing. Framing's the skeleton of your house. Every stud, every joist, every header is part of a continuous path that carries the weight of the roof, the wind, the snow, all the way down to the foundation. Break that path anywhere, and the wall above it starts to bow. Here's how it actually goes wrong. Framing crew puts up the walls. Plumber shows up later, needs to run a 3-inch drain through a load-bearing stud, so he just notches half of it out. The wall above that stud is now riding on what's left, which is not enough. 6 months in, you start seeing it. Pop drywall screws above the doors, cracks running diagonal from the door corners, ceilings that don't quite meet the wall anymore. Builder's going to call it settling, but settling doesn't pop screws. Same crews mash the insulation flat to get around the pipes. That R19 bat your builder is bragging about, compressed in half, performs like R9. You're paying for one number, living with the other. Quick check-in, we're halfway. 2 down, 3 to go. If this is useful so far, hit subscribe before we get to the top 3. The next one makes the case for canceling your AC contract. Number 3, the air you breathe, HVAC. Ever been in a brand new house in summer where the AC is blasting but the air still feels sticky? That's not your imagination. Your unit is too big. And too big means it never runs long enough to actually pull the humidity out. The right way to size a system is called a manual J calculation. It looks at every window, every wall, every climate zone. The wrong way is a rule of thumb, 400 to 500 square feet per ton. Most contractors use the wrong way, because the wrong way takes 30 seconds. Oversized unit fires up, blasts you with freezing air, hits the set point in 3 minutes, shuts off, sits there for 20. The humidity creeps back in. Repeat all day. Your wallet gets the bill. Your walls grow the mold. Department of Energy puts the cost at up to 30% more energy wasted every month for the life of the equipment. Plus the mold remediation when you finally figure out why your bedroom smells weird. Number 2, the king of construction lawsuits, water. Stucco is what we call reservoir cladding. It soaks up water like a sponge by design, which means there has to be a path for that water to escape behind it and weep out at the bottom. No drainage plane, no weep screeds. The water just sits in your wall. Here's why this gets ignored. Stucco moves a lot when the temperature swings. A 100-foot wall in a 75-degree day swing expands and contracts a full half inch. The drywall behind it moves a 1/20 of that. Without expansion joints to absorb the difference, the stucco cracks open, wide, and every one of those cracks is a highway for rain. The window is the weak link. The flashing tape around the perimeter has to be lapped a specific way over the house wrap under the head trim. Get the order wrong, and the wall behind the window soaks up every storm. Window flashing is the single most common water entry point in new construction. Once the water's in, it has nowhere to go. The sheathing rots. The nails rust. Black mold colonizes the studs. All of it happening silently behind paint that still looks brand new. Water damage drives 70% of all construction lawsuits. That's not a typo. Number 1, the one that ends careers, the ground. 3 months after you move in, your doors stop latching. Cracks start running from the corners of every window. Your builder will tell you it's just normal settling. It is never just normal settling. The leading national provider of new home structural warranties, 210 Home Buyers Warranty, has decades of forensic data. 80% of every residential structural failure they pay out on traces back to soil movement under the foundation. Not bad concrete, not bad framing, dirt. The fix is a test they call standard penetration. They drive a sampler into the dirt and count blows. Above 15 blows, the soil is compacted enough to build on. Below, your house is sitting on a sponge. Most production builders just don't run the test. It costs money and it slows the schedule. Average cost to investigate and repair a qualifying soil claim, around $50,000. Some states, the builder is liable, only if you can prove they skipped the test, which is hard to prove after the slab is poured. 5 different pitfalls, same root cause. A crew that's behind schedule, cutting the test, burying the evidence, and moving to the next job before you ever notice. You can't fix the schedule. You can fix what you check before drywall goes up. 3 things will save you. 1. Demand a soil compaction test before they pour the foundation. 2. Make your HVAC contractor show you the manual J calculation, not a rule of thumb. 3. Pay $377 for an independent pre-drywall inspector. Same survey says that inspector saves the average buyer $14,000 in negotiations and repairs. If you made it this far, thank you. Every view, every like, it's what keeps this channel going. Hit like if this helped. Subscribe so you don't miss the next teardown. Share this with anyone you know who's building or about to. If you've caught one of these in your own home, drop it in the comments. I read every one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.